At the moment, my film is on the festival circuit, so I'm kind of learnt an awful lot as I've been going on with the film, and because this is my fourth film that I've directed, but it's the first one that I've really seriously kind of said, okay, we're going to do the festivals, we're going to have a plan, and we're going to try and get in. And I've been shocked by the difference in how the film's been received and how much I'm getting back from it. I mean, I know it's a better film than the other films I made, but if I'd have known then, when I was kind of like entering festivals with those, what I know now, I think I would have had a better play with all of those films as well. So there are literally, I don't know how many thousands of short films get made every year. So people who've been through the film schools, people who haven't, people who are on schemes. So think about like Screen Yorkshire, we used to do, 8 or 10 digital shorts a year. That's one region, there are 12, is it 12 regions? 9 regions. And they're funded shorts, so you've got lower budget shorts, you've got kind of mid-range shorts, you've got shorts that people are funding themselves, you've got extremely rich people funding their own shorts as well. I don't know where they get their money, but so there's just a phenomenal amount of short films out there, but you'd be shocked by how many of them don't get seen. For whatever it takes to write the script, to get your cast and crew together, to go through production, to go through editing, to go through everything, you are going to end up working even harder getting your film out there. And I think people just kind of lose that energy because they've made the film and they're thinking about, moving on to the next one. But if you spent all that time and effort making a short film, then you've really got to think about, if it's worth getting out there, you've got to do that legwork. And it is hard work, and that has been for me the big difference between my last shorts and this one, that I never ever realised it would be as hard work as it has been. But when it pays off, it's really worth it. It feels like some people make a short just to make a short, and they forget that, really, shouldn't it be for an audience? So if you're thinking about that from the start, when you make your film, you get as much feedback on it so that it's as good as possible, and you know that someone will want to watch it. If you've made something that's so self-indulgent it's never going to find an audience, then you are going to have difficulties placing it at a festival anyway. But if you're making films as a filmmaker who wants films on a big screen for people to watch, and you've achieved that, and you've got a story that's interesting and well crafted, you have got a chance of getting into festivals. It might be that you make a film that is kind of overlooked in Britain, and because it's kind of our home turf, we almost take it more personally, I think, when we don't get in here. It's very hard to get rejected from Edinburgh, London, Bristol, and it makes you feel smaller and smaller and smaller. But if you do kind of like cast your net further afield, it might be that you find that the film actually does kind of relate more to people abroad because it's something different, it's something fresher. And, you know, mine at the moment is doing very well in America and Italy. And you kind of think, I didn't think that when I made the film. I thought I was making a film that would go down well in Britain. But there's something about it that, you know, other people like more than us. Because we see British shorts all the time. This is the thing about the festivals in England. They're going to get loads and loads of British shorts sent to them. There's nothing they haven't seen before. But you send something that's really well made to another country, and for them it's a foreign language short. It's immediately kind of different, a bit more exotic, and it can really work to your advantage. What it is the people that are programming have a particular type of film that they like. And you only start to learn what those films are by going to the festivals in previous years and watching and seeing what they screen. But how can you do that? You know, how can you go to every festival in the world and work it out? So I think it's still worth placing a punt on the festival that you really want to try and get into. It's because it's always worth entering Edinburgh. It's always worth entering. I'd say enter all the big British ones. You probably won't get in. But if you don't enter, you're not going to know. If you kind of had that moment where there was someone watching it that had, it might have been that there's some personal connection to the film that they like. I'm not saying that they know you as a filmmaker, but there might be something within the story material that makes them go, oh my God, I've got a rubber chicken. I really like that film. You just don't know. The fact is you do not know who's going to be watching the film and what mood they're in, which is why I think you're better kind of like having a punt and taking a chance on it. Make a film, you want it screened, but in order to do this, as we found out from people who haven't entered very many, you need certain things, and the first thing is discipline. If you set yourself a little regime of, okay, this day a week, during, you know, maybe Sunday afternoon or evening where you're bored, you kind of go online and say, I'm going to find out about festivals. I'm going to find out about 5 festivals or 10 festivals, and keep starting researching it so that you're getting more of an idea of what is out there, because there are so many festivals out there. There's going to be one for you, or if you're lucky, there might be 10 for you, or 20, or 100. But if you don't know, you don't go looking, you're never going to find them. have an 18-month window for your film when you've made it to get it out there. And if you only start getting interested in festivals 2 months before that 18-month window is there, then you've kind of blown it. Because you all know it's all to do with the completion date, when your film is completed. It's not when you shoot it. Whatever you put for your completion date, leave it as long as possible. Put it down for the day you handed it in to Screen Yorkshire. I put mine in like February 2008, which was the day I came and brought it in. That's my completion date. It's not when I finished shooting. It's not quite when I finished editing. It was when it was all handed over. Because from that date onwards, with some festivals, they'll only let you have a year. But as a rule, a lot of the other festivals, it is kind of 18 months, so you will get a little bit longer. So you need to really bear in mind that as soon as your completion date is on a form, you are counting down and you are losing time. In the start, it was just I'd enter a festival, print up all the information and put it in like one of these, you know, addicted to plastic sleeves. And then you go, oh, I've entered a festival. And it's the first one. It's so exciting, the first one you enter, and you send it off. You're there, you know, at the post office saying, will it get there? How many days will it take to get there? Shall I send it recorded delivery? And you're kind of almost kissing the envelope with the ones in the beginning, going, oh, yes, come on, Edinburgh, Edinburgh, Edinburgh. And you sit there going, I'm going to Edinburgh, I'm going to Edinburgh, I'm going to get in. And then, you know, 3 months later, you get an email and you click onto it going, I'm going to Edinburgh, going to Edinburgh. And then you go, oh, fuck, I'm not going to Edinburgh. And then you get really upset and you take it really personally. And you kind of then, what you need at that point, when you start getting the rejections, is you need someone to moan to who understands what you're on about, even if they don't care. Because the thing you shouldn't do, and I've made the mistake of doing it with my first rejection, and it's like embarrassing, is you should not email the festival back to ask them to either look at your film again or to say, I'm so upset that I didn't get in. And you really will be tempted to do that. And I kind of, you know, you kind of don't. But if you keep a big file, if you print off every time you enter a festival, print off all the information that you've got, because if you then get someone contact you because you've got in and you've no idea, you know, where the festival is, when it's on, what you're screening on, then you're a bit of a mess. So I would say keep all the information. I would say I've got 2 files now. I've got a big one that thick, which has got all the entries, not just ones that are still ongoing, but ones that are from the past, as in, you know, even the rejections I've kept, because I'm hoping that I will make another short film at some time. And this means I've already got my research file, because I can go through and go, oh, there's that festival, that festival, that festival. It will end up saving you time. One good thing to think about is getting as much feedback on your short during the editing process. I know that you're getting script development, some of you that are working through the schemes, but also this is why kind of like the Screen Yorkshire life-size points when it comes to editing are so important, because they are your first audience. And as filmmakers, because you've just made it, you're still quite close. Because the last thing you want is a film up on screen and there's a programmer watching it and they're just thinking, if only they'd done that slightly differently. If only that 7-minute long scene was 3 minutes long. Because things like that can make the difference between getting selected or not. A lot of festivals do actually have limits for how long the film can be. And, you know, they'll have some which is 10 minutes. And you're kind of like, there aren't a huge amount of films. I know that Digi-Shorts and that, there are 10 minutes in London now. It used to be, because all the Film Council ones used to be under 10 minutes. So, and then there are other festivals that are 12 minutes. And this, of course, is including, well, you have to check, because some of them it's including credits. Others, it isn't. And if you're not clear on it, it's times like that that you have to kind of email the organisers and just double check. Because if your film is slightly over by a few seconds, or, you know, 30 seconds or a minute, they may let you in. Chances are they won't, but it's worth a try. If you make a film that's 20 minutes long or 25, you are going to get a lot less festival play, because when people are putting together packages of shorts, they might say, oh, we're looking for, you know, a theme of, you know, families, and they're looking for like, you know, 7, 8 short films to put within that, so they've got a nice selection. If people start sending in films that are 25, 30 minutes long, that's going to mean that either two 15-minute films or 3 10-minute films won't be scheduled, because you've got that longer one in the slot. And it's far more likely that the person that's programming it is going to put 3 films in rather than 1.